Welcome back to my 5-part series and full guideline of how I get my free games. So far we've discussed in the last videos the 4 tactics I use for how we get free games. The first tactic of which was to buy PS3 bundles at a cheap rate, take the games that you like out of them, keep the games that you don't want, and then resell that bundle for either the same price that you bought it for or for a more expensive price. That way you can have some profit, or you make sure that the games that you got were for free. Tactic number 2 was buying more than one game for the price of one game. Tactic number 3 was trading games that you had doubles of. So the games that you got from tactic number 1 or tactic number 2, and you already had doubles of those games. For instance, you already had Bioshock 2, you already had Gran Turismo, and now you have doubles, and the double is for free already. Trade those games for other games that you want. That way you get those games for free. And finally, tactic number 4, when it comes to selling, you don't have to always sell the bundle as a whole. Sometimes you might have difficulty. So break up, divide, and conquer the bundles. You might sell the PS3 separately, you might sell equipment separately, you might sell the games separately. Just make sure that the total and everything that adds up, make sure it adds up to the amount that you spent or more. That way you ensure that the games that you took out were certainly for free, and the equipment that you took out were definitely for free. So now that you know the 4 tactics, there's 10 guidelines and rules that I've developed for myself and I'm sharing with you to help facilitate the whole process. So let's start with rule number 1. You have to bargain. This whole process is all about bargaining. This is more for when you're dealing person to person, or let's say if you're doing garage sales, or if you're dealing on Craigslist. If it's retail, it's very difficult to bargain sometimes prices with retail. But if you're dealing with people, it's very easy to bargain with them. Let's say someone's selling something for $15, it's not going to hurt you if you ask them to sell it for $10. Or if they have a whole bunch of games all total together, try to see if you can get it cheaper if you buy it as a bundle rather than buy it one by one. Always make it seem like you're doing them a favor. So that's rule number 1. Bargain, 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 bargain. You gotta bargain, and that's the only way you can get things for free. Rule number 2, you have to be persistent, but at the same time you have to be realistic. So persistent in that when you're asking someone for a price, someone, let's say they're selling a PS3 for $270, and you see that he has good games, he has good equipment that's coming along with that PS3. So you offer the guy, tell him, listen, I'll buy it off for you for $200. He's going to look at you and he's going to tell you no. The lowest I'll go is $250. Many people, they'll just give up right there and say, you know what, I can't do that. I'm not going to deal with him. But you have to be persistent. Don't just give up your bargaining right there. Come up with something. Make it as if you're coming up with a favor for him. So tell him, you know what, I'll take it for $220 off of you. I'll give you cash and I'll come pick it up with no issues, and it'll be gone today. Make the seller feel as if you're doing them a favor, because at the end of the day, no seller wants to keep the things that they're selling. They want to get rid of them. So always try to give them incentive to sell it. And you never know. He might come halfway, but he'll definitely go down. And if not, then maybe it's not the PS3 for you. Move on and go to another one. At the same time, you have to be realistic. If someone is selling his whole bundle for $450, don't offer the guy $200 or $150 for the whole bundle. He's going to look at you like you're crazy, and it's going to be a waste of your time. He's going to look at you as if you're trying to lowball him, and people don't appreciate that. Rule number 3. If you haven't figured it out already, this is not a short process. It doesn't come right away, but if you stick to it, you can definitely have a lot of things that come out of it. And rule number 3 is be patient. You have to be patient. You have to be patient when you're selling. You have to be patient when you're buying. Don't just rush into a sale. If you see GameStop, let's say, selling a game, but you're not so urgent on getting the game. It just came out. Let's say a game just came out for $60. I can sometimes anticipate if a game is going to go down in price pretty fast or not. So for instance, Duke Nukem, when it first came out and it got so many bad reviews, I knew that this game was going to go down fast. And only a couple of months later, the game is $10. New. Used is about like $8, $5. So be patient when you're buying. Don't just rush into buying things. Also, be patient when you're selling. There's no way you're going to get through this if you're not patient when you're selling. Sometimes I've went through PS3s that stayed in my house for about 2 months without even being sold. Sometimes even 3 months without even being sold. But I was patient about it, and eventually every single PS3 I've bought, I was able to sell, and I was able to gain the money back at the same amount or even more. Most of the time it was way more. This leads to rule number 4. You have to have foresight. You have to oversee the fact that you're spending money in order for you to gain money or to gain things for free. Just because you're spending $200 now or you're spending $300 now, if you see a good deal, take that good deal. Make sure that you can see ahead that you'd be able to sell this product or not. Rule number 5, and this is very important, you have to make sure that you make the same money or more than the money that you originally spent to get the bundle, or else there's no way you're getting it for free. Mathematically, it's incorrect. You have to always keep track of things. Keep track of how much you're spending and make sure that whatever it is that you're spending and whatever it is that you're gaining, it adds up all the way to the end to the amount that you bought it for or more than that. That way the games that you're able to pull aside for free, they're actually going to stay as for free, and it's not something that you actually ended up losing in or you actually ended up buying as if you bought it from the store. And this leads to rule number 6. Keep in mind that you have to make sure that the amount that you make has to be the same or more than the amount that you spent. You can still short sale certain games. So for instance, if a game is worth $20 and someone comes to you and wants to get it for $10, there's no problem if you give it to him for $10 even though you initially want to sell it for $20. So long as you keep track of the entire finances, and all the way at the end everything will come up to be the same amount as you spent or more. So for instance, if this game was $10 and I took $10 off, I gotta make sure that I oversell this product. Let's say the PS3, if I want to sell it for $150, I gotta sell it for $160 now. Or I gotta sell it for $155. Or I gotta take a hit here and there. You have to make sure you keep track of finances. But don't be afraid to short sell one product in order for you to oversell another. Which leads to the opposing rule, rule number 7, which is make sure you anticipate losses. So when you're putting a game, let's say if you put a game initially, you put it for $10 and it goes for $20, don't put it for $10. Sell it for about $15 because you never know. You might need that $10 somewhere else. It might be that the PS3 you want to sell for $150, you're not gonna be able to sell it for more than $140. So you got to anticipate the losses when you're making the prices. And again, be realistic. It has to be some sort of balance there. Rule number 8. When you see an opportunity, you have to act quick before someone else takes it or before that opportunity goes away. Usually when sales come in GameStop or Best Buy, they don't come for another couple of months. So you have to make sure that you take advantage of the sales if they are in fact beneficial to you. Also, if you're using websites like eBay or Craigslist or any of those, eBay, I don't think you're going to get as much of a discount as you would in Craigslist because there's a lot more room for you to negotiate because you're picking up in person. If you're getting things from Craigslist and you see a good opportunity, take it right away before somebody else buys it, because if somebody else buys it, that's it. Rule number 9. You have to know when to be firm and when to lighten up on the prices. So when someone's sending you offers for games or offers for a PS3, you have to know that sometimes you have to be firm. So for instance, if you already put the prices low enough and you can't go lower than that price, don't soften up on the guy when the guy comes to you and says, hey, listen, you know what? I'll give it to you for $150 for all this stuff. You're not going to find anybody else that buys it from you. Don't let him use the tactics on you that you are going to be using on other people. Make sure that you're able to get the best out of the situation. And because of the fact that you're already involved in the trading and the buying and the selling, you'll be able to recognize it more or less when someone's trying to short sell you. So make sure you know when to be firm. At the same time, like I said before, you have to know when to lighten up. A difference in $10 is not really a big deal. Even if the whole amount came out to be that you were at a loss of $10, maybe you might want to reevaluate, and maybe it wouldn't be such a big hit if you were able to get 10 games out of it. That's $1 per game. But obviously, preferably, always try to make sure that the price that you paid is the same price that you make, or that you make even more than that. And this comes for rule number 10. Personally, this is what I stick to. I recommend people to stick to that unless you're involved in eBay and other websites that are very heavily involved in shipping and whatnot, and you're able to verify definitely whether a person is going to be a scam or not a scam, whether you're going to be able to get your money or not. This just goes in general with regards to buying and selling, especially as an individual, as a private owner. I would never, ever, 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 ever ship. There's going to be times when, if you're going on Craigslist, a lot of people are going to email you or text you saying, I have my cousin across seas and he's looking, I need to get him the PS3 as soon as possible. I'll pay you $100 extra plus the shipping cost plus this plus that. They're all scams. And I get those at least 10, 20 times a day. And there's a story of one lady that actually shipped her car on Craigslist to one of these guys and never saw the car again. I don't know why she paid money to ship the car in the first place, because it's a lot of money just to ship the car. She never saw the money for the car, never saw the money for the shipping, and she was at a loss. And that was the end of it. So I would say never ever get scammed. Obviously, nobody wants to get scammed. But never ever ship, because most likely when you ship things over, it's very hard to verify. Even on YouTube, some people try to trade It's very difficult when if you're trading through forums or YouTube. It's best for me when I meet them face to face. I like to meet people face to face, even though it's a little bit more dangerous because they're strangers. So make sure that when you meet people, meet them in public, in a public area, in a safe area. Don't go in anybody's house. If you want to test the PS3 or something, take it to a GameStop to test it out. Make sure you're in front of some place that some safe place which you can test it out at. And never ever ever ship the product, or else most likely you will lose. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been my full guideline for how I got my free PS3 games, and I hope it helped. Peace.
You have 2 vids to click, so choose your pick and watch the video, but make sure you like it. Subscribe to this channel and you won't regret. Follow my social networks and you'll be all set. I'm Visualante and you've been watching The Visualante Effect.